Ever feel like your team disappears the moment a deadline hits? I've been there. So in this video, I want to share how I keep teams accountable without chasing, micromanaging, or being authoritative. I've run into a lot of challenges when it comes to teams committing to something, and then when I try to track down the deliverable within the time frame that we all agreed to, everyone disappears. No one answers my phone calls, my team messages, or my emails. I'm literally ghosted at work. It is especially frustrating when I know it's because I haven't earned their respect yet, because they either see me as too young, or I simply haven't gained their respect because we're brand new to working with each other. I once had to deliver an analysis to a COO that would directly feed into how we are spending some funding, but it required the input of multiple directors across different departments. And as everything is in the corporate world, it had to be done fast. I had strong relationships with a couple of the directors, but most I did not know. So somehow I had to figure out how to get them to deliver and how to keep them accountable to deliver quickly. That analysis taught me that building respect and accountability has a lot more to do with your communication skills and the way you deliver the message. But let me get into it. There's a couple of things that I want to touch on. First, I want to talk about how to earn that respect from your team that is required to expect accountability from them, and how to do it when you're being underestimated or thought of as too young, or you're simply starting off with a new team and you need to build credibility. I also want to talk about the tools that I use to manage large teams through projects by setting clear expectations. I'll show you the templates that I've used, like a RACI matrix or an expectation tracker, and I'll give you some sample language that you can copy. Finally, I want to talk about how to rebuild accountability once it's broken. So accountability starts with you, how you communicate the goals and needs of a project. It's less, or not at all, about the authority, i.e., I'm the project manager, so you should deliver when I tell you to because I'm the project manager. It's really all about how good you are at influencing and engaging a project team to care about a project or deliverable. People don't respect what they don't understand or care about, and power or authority is not given with the title. It's earned with respect. Therefore, accountability starts with mutual respect. If a team does not respect you, then influence is very difficult, meaning that you are going to have a hard time keeping people committed and accountable to deliver. A project team and people in general work hard and deliver for those they trust and respect. That is just human nature. As much as we want to argue that it's unprofessional and that people should just do their jobs, or that we shouldn't coddle teams at work, negating the humanity of teams delivering projects in a professional setting will always lead to unsuccessful or stressful delivery of projects. So how can you earn a project team's respect even if you're a baby PM and this is your first project? Respect will come from the way that you treat people and from your own credibility. It does not matter if you are younger. I have led teams where I am the youngest person in the room by decades. What matters is your executive presence, your delivery, your cadence, really your overall aura. How you present with confidence, but with an obvious respect for the expertise of the people that you're leading. You can build credibility through small wins, like being effective at communicating the goals and needs of a project, and working with your subject matter experts to establish realistic deadlines, even if that means that you have to push a little bit on your side with the client or leadership. You wouldn't see these necessarily as small wins, but the way you communicate is going to be the first impression that your team has from you. So it's really important. Now, onto the project management skills that I use to create accountability. First, it's imperative to set clear expectations early on. It's best straight from the beginning, even if you don't have all of the information yet. Second, offer context and not just deadlines to your team. When the team understands the purpose behind the ask and the reason behind the deadlines, they are much more likely to be on board with the plan. When a team is empowered to provide input around when a task should be delivered based on the context and constraint of a project, they will understand the needs of that project and feel more ownership to deliver and therefore be more accountable. Here's some language that I've used to frame expectations from my teams. The client is in the midst of making a decision about purchasing a specific equipment. They need an analysis to really understand the different types of equipments out there that perform similar functions. This equipment would help them shorten their schedule by 30%, but only if they can make a decision and purchase it within the next week. They are asking us to perform a cost-benefit analysis and give them the most optimal choice that would balance cost savings, best performance, and schedule savings. Is this something that we can put together within the next week? If they say no, then I ask, what are the resources and reprioritizations that I can provide that would help us meet this goal? Once I get their response, then I run a quick 30-minute workshop establishing a timeline and an expectation tracker, and I make a plan right there and then with the team. Once we have a plan in place, then I'll tell them, all right, let's reconvene in 2 days to ensure that we're on track, or if we need to re-strategize. And I make sure that they know that they need to let me know any obstacles as soon as they pop up so that we can resolve them quickly. Okay, let's talk about tools now. Tools are a great way to keep people accountable without the need to micromanage or continuously follow up. I use them even with teams that I know will deliver and do not have any accountability issues. As mentioned in my earlier example, these tools really help drive those conversations by making sure that the team is part of establishing a plan to deliver. Using tools like a RACI matrix is an effective way to get a project team to take ownership around who will deliver what and when. Let me show you what a RACI matrix looks like. RACI stands for R, responsible, A, accountability, C, consulted, I, informed. At the top of your matrix, you'll have the name of the team that is going to be involved along with their role. It could be a full team, it could be departments and the people within those departments that need to be involved with the project. It can really be organized however you want at the top. On the column side, that is where you put the deliverables. So you could break it up almost by a work breakdown structure. So let's say you're trying to deliver an analysis on the equipment. You're going to need to do research on pricing. You're going to need to do research on functionality. You're going to need to do research on lead time. How long does it take to get that equipment? And you're going to have to compile a report, right? So all of those things need to be done by someone. Similarly, if you're putting together a report, you could break it up by the chapters. That way you can figure out who's accountable for each chapter. Or maybe this is a project that is multidisciplinary. And so at the top, you'll have all your disciplines and the people in the disciplines. Make sure you don't just put the department name. You have to make sure that there is a person's name that will be accountable and responsible for whatever task there is to deliver that project. So that's kind of how it's set up. Now, the RACI is used to show who is responsible. Responsible is the person that is actually writing, putting together the work, doing the calculations. They are the people actually building the thing. Accountable is the person accountable for what this person is doing. For example, if you're, let's say, in engineering and your junior or mid-level engineer is performing the calculation, but really it's the senior engineer or the project manager that's accountable for that deliverable, then yes, your mid-level engineer is responsible, but it's your senior engineer that's accountable for it. And then C is used for the people that are going to have some input. You can't finish this specific chapter because it requires coordination with this other department, so they're going to have to be consulted. And I are people that just need to be informed. Other effective tools that I've used are, of course, maintaining constant communication and conversations, building that rapport with your team. I have found that no accountability tool will keep people accountable if you are not constantly in communication with the team. Conversations usually lead back to the message of why we're delivering this specific task by the specific time frame that has been worked out with the project team so that they can commit to it and not be able to blame me that I have set unrealistic expectations. Finally, I always keep a documented record of the request and expectation. I try to email the team the summary of the expectations and the timeline that we have discussed almost immediately. Do not rely on phone calls or in real life conversations, as those can easily be forgotten. Here's an example of how I frame those summary emails. Thank you, team, for being so ready to take on this task. Just relaying what we agreed on this morning to deliver. Provide the task name. By, provide the due date. Below is our RACI matrix or our execution tracker. Please let me know if anything changes that would prevent our delivery. I will send a meeting invite for our next check-in. and that's it. Off it goes. A lot of what I'm trying to do is make sure that the team feels comfortable to come to me with any issues or if we see a problem with delivering. Because usually I want to be able to solve these things together, even if that means adjusting the timeline, adjusting the schedule. But if we're all proactively engaging to make sure that we deliver to the best of our abilities, that's always much better than staying quiet until the end and then the delivery date comes and we're not able to provide what we promised. All right, let's say that you are past the point of being able to build respect with your team and they've already dropped the ball on you. The project team has already missed deadlines and commitments. So now what? How can you rebuild that accountability and prevent it from happening in the future? First thing you want to do is really start building that trust, that rapport with your project team. You're already past that deadline. There's no point in mulling over it. It's time to start building that relationship with your project team. If it were me, I would hold a almost casual lessons learned session so I could provide my project team a safe space to tell me what we could do better in the future, why we missed this deadline, do we have resourcing issues, do we have miscommunications, and are we not aligned as a project team? Then I'd work together to find a solution for the next time. If it is a team that is not under you directly, but that you have to collaborate constantly with, then you manage expectations differently by giving yourself a contingency timeline and expecting their delays. However, with the team that you're collaborating with, make sure that you're still pushing for said timeline and not allowing them to push into your contingency plan. All right, that's it. That's everything I wanted to say about accountability. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see how I keep my projects aligned, I actually walk through my actual projects dashboard in this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.